Hello everyone and welcome back to another team preview for the Overwatch League. We've seen the Pro-Am, we've seen some of these Overwatch League teams starting to play, so I wanted to get a couple of the teams out of the way as we get closer to April 27th when the Overwatch League regular season starts. We got our first look at some of these Overwatch League teams in the West, and I wanted to talk about the Los Angeles Valiant because in the past I haven't really had any information to give you because they haven't said anything for like a really long time. And we were starting to get worried that they wouldn't even exist. But nonetheless, they do exist. The LA Valiant have announced their roster. They only just got access to their Twitter account. It seems like they didn't tweet for an incredibly long time. Rumors were that they didn't even really have access to social media. But what they've essentially done, for any context to people who don't really understand the situation that well, is it seems like they've given a lot of control to Paintbrush, who as a player who's played in the league in the past, smart guy, but they've essentially given the team to Paintbrush, and Paintbrush is the coach/player, but the primary 5 players you should see on this roster is Nos, Seeker, Croy, CJ, and Liar. These are the 5 guys that you should expect to be the primary Los Angeles Valiant, and they're kind of coming in with low expectations, and they're sort of the meme fun team, because the Valiant, obviously, as a franchise, hasn't been putting their best foot forward, and I don't think you should expect this season to be any different, but at least the players themselves seem to have been, optimistic about what they can accomplish. Paintbrush is the person I would recommend to follow if you want to get full memes and full bans coming out for this Los Angeles Valiant team. But let's have a look at their Wikipedia page in case you don't really know too much about many of these players. So Seeker, you should know a little bit about. He played for the Vancouver Titans. Wait, was it Boston Uprising? No, it was Boston Uprising last year. Yeah, Boston Uprising. He came in as the late sub for the Boston Uprising in the middle of the season. Actually had a very good performance, impressed a lot of people, and he's still having that impact for the Valiant. He was one of the standout players that we saw from them in the Pro-Am thus far, and I think he's the guy you should keep your eyes on. Nos is a flex DPS player, has a pretty deep hero pool from what we saw in the Pro-Am. He'll be their Tracer, Sombra, Genji type of player. And I think there's a lot of upside for this DPS squad. Croy, we actually saw a bit of in the league last year. He played for the Paris Eternal last year. Another signing who came in the back half. He is an off-tank player through and true, and that actually hurt the Valiant in their most recent Pro-Am situation because Croy doesn't seem to have any willingness to play the Winston or the Wrecking Ball. So if he's going to be avoiding these main tanks, that's going to heavily limit what the Valiant can play. He played almost exclusively Ramatra with a little bit of D.Va spotted in there, I believe, in the Pro-Am. So I would expect that the Valiant to keep going in that direction as time goes on. Liar and CJ are the backline, and these guys are great support players. CJ is a controversial player to say the least, but you can't doubt the talent that they have. And as a whole, this team is pretty solid. I would say probably up at the upper end of North American contenders. It's not going to blow your socks off. They're not going to all of a sudden come out and start competing with the top end. But from what we saw, at least just this last weekend, is that the Valiant should be able to at least compete with some of these other teams, and I doubt they're going to go, 0-16. I believe this team is still expected to be better than the Vegas Eternal, and the reason we know that is we actually saw just in the Pro-Am, Valiant went 1-3 in their groups. They lost to Atlanta Reign, London Spitfire. Honestly, it wasn't really very close with either of those teams. But they actually had a close match against Saints, which was one of the better North American contenders teams to play in the Prime, and they beat the Vegas Eternal 2-0. So I would expect them to be at the bottom end, but they're at least over the Vegas Eternal right now. So better than expected, which is kind of crazy because we came in with no expectation, but they've jumped over that incredibly low bar that we had for them. So this is an exciting team, because it'll just be fun to watch them. And that's how I would best recommend. Don't go in with expectation. Don't go in with optimism. Just go in looking for a good time. And I think you will find that. They will be memeing. They're going to be talking in chat. It will be a fun team to keep your eyes on. But at the end of the day, they have no management, as you can see here. Paintbrush is the only coach, and he's a player coach, and he's rumored to not even show up to scrims. SMH Paintbrush, come on. What are we doing here? So that is the Los Angeles Valiant. Obviously, far away from what we knew of them back when I was a player in 2020. They've fallen a long way, but it's cool to see them back in the West, getting a bit of an identity for the season. But at the end of the day, they're going to be at the bottom of the leaderboards for this season. So let me know what you guys think of the Valiant. Let me know who you guys want to keep an eye on for that Valiant squad and who you want me to do a team preview of next. We have a bunch of more teams that we need to do in the West, but we haven't even talked about the East, and the regular season will start on August 27th, so we got a lot of things to get done. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want more of these VOD reviews. I'm also been doing some Pro-Am stuff. I also got VOD reviews coming out in the near future, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time.